action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Friday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. Feeling pretty good today. Absolutely tremendous. Nice night of betting, 3-1 last night. How about a little bit of goddamn respect for those Arizona Coyotes? Cashing as a home dog for us, so that was nice to see. So moving in the right direction here. 2 consecutive profitable days. Try to bring that winning ways into the weekend. We got a lot to discuss today. Only 2 games, but we got 10 total picks for conference championship weekend. Very prop-heavy show. Iain MacMillan, of course, who we will bring in right now, senior editor over at VegasInsider, joining me today, having a pretty good playoffs so far. And then we have a very special treat for Chasing That Paper viewers in the second half of the program. Old friend Gilles Gallant will be stopping by. He will be bestowing upon us his 2 favorite touchdown scorer picks for the weekend. Iain, how excited are you to be greeted by Gilles today?
Yeah, I'm excited to see Gilles. I'm curious as to why he didn't reach out to meet up for a drink or something when he was here in New York City recently. So gonna have to squash that beef when he comes on.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get to the bottom of that. We will have to sort that out. A bit unusual. Iain moves to New York. I think it's fair to say you and Gilles are friends. And Gilles was in New York for a good 5 days. He doesn't reach out. When I was in New York in the spring, one of my first thoughts is, well, I should probably reach out to Iain. And we went to a
Mets game, and it was a great time.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments of 2022. All right, enough small talk here, Iain. We got 10 total picks to get into. So let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off with the first game on Sunday. We got the 49ers in Philadelphia to take on those Philadelphia Eagles. And I like the Eagles to cover the spread coming in at -2.5. So quarterback for the 49ers, Brock Purdy. He's going to be feeling the heat in this one. He finally faced a strong defense in the Cowboys last week. And what do you know? He looked pretty damn ordinary, didn't he? Now the stakes are even higher on the road versus the team that leads the NFL in sacks by a wide margin. This will be the most uncomfortable game of his career. And it could make the 49ers very one-dimensional. Take a look at the other side of the ball for San Francisco. I think their defense is a little overrated. You look up and down their schedule, you're going to find very few offenses that are considered good. And despite this, San Francisco just 15th in opponent third down conversion percentage, or defense 18th in the red zone. So very average versus easy competition for the most part in 2 very clutch areas. The Eagles offense, by the way, top 3 in third down conversion percentage and in the red zone. And Kyle Shanahan, can this man be trusted in a tight spot? No doubt about it. One of the best game planners in the NFL. But from an in-game management perspective, a little spotty, to say the least. 28-3 ring a bell at all? Iain remembers that game. Now, we saw some questionable clock management last week versus the Cowboys. And if this team isn't close to perfect from an in-game management perspective, they will not cover this number. Give me the Eagles -2.5. Now, Iain, you got a bunch of props for this game. Let's start off with your first one here.
Yeah, Joe, I actually don't remember the 28-3 game. I have no idea what you're talking about or referring to. But let's get into my first prop bet here. Christian McCaffrey, my guy, Christian McCaffrey. Over 90.5 rushing and receiving yards, my first prop bet for the show here. I will say, I got this at over 98.5. It's gone down 8 points to 90.5, which is absolutely disrespectful. I think Christian McCaffrey is the 49ers' path to victory, and in a couple of different ways. If they win this game by getting out to an early lead, it's going to be because they ran the ball successfully. The Eagles, 21st in rush defense DVOA, 24th in opponent yards per carry. That's the weakness of the Eagles' defense. They should lean on the run game, the 49ers should, and that will rack up some rushing yards for Christian McCaffrey. Also, if they get down early, they're going to turn to the passing game, and Christian McCaffrey is one of Brock Purdy's favorite targets out of the backfield. So I think he's going to be a big part of this game. I'm surprised his rushing and receiving yards is in the double digits. And also, I think this line is a little bit of an overreaction to last week's game against the Cowboys. Not a great performance by Christian McCaffrey, but I think he matches up a lot better against the against the Eagles than he did against the Cowboys. I'll take over 90.5 rushing and receiving yards for CMC.
All right, Ian, let's pump it up here. My favorite prop for this game, I like Brock Purdy to have under 31.5 pass attempts, coming in at -110. So as pointed out, this will be the most uncomfortable game of Brock Purdy's career. The Eagles lead the NFL in sacks and are second in QB pressure percentage. Also, number 1 in yards allowed per pass attempt. And you got to think Kyle Shanahan's going to go conservative with the game planning. Tight game versus the Cowboys last week. Just 10 pass attempts in the second half for Purdy. I don't see them unleashing Purdy here by any means unless they fall behind by multiple scores. Plus, what's the weakness of this Eagles defense? It's against the run, so expect a run-heavy attack where San Francisco looks to control the clock. Also, he's only topped this number twice in his 8 outings versus the Dolphins and in that shootout versus the Raiders. Give me Brock Purdy under 31.5 pass attempts. All right, you like something for the other quarterback here, Jalen Hurts. What do you take?
Yeah, I took the over on this prop bet last week. I'm going to do the opposite here. I'm going to take the under on it this week. It is Jalen Hurts rushing total 48.5. Give me the under 48.5 Jalen Hurts rushing yards. Mainly because the Eagles have to go up against one of the best rush defenses in the entire NFL. 49ers second in opponent yards per carry this season, giving up only 3.4 yards per rush. And Jalen Hurts, since returning from injury, hasn't gone over this total. Now, it's only a 2-game sample size. He rushed for 13 yards against the Giants in Week 18, 34 yards against the Giants last week. But I know that's a small sample size, but let's not forget the Giants had one of, if not the single worst rush defense in the entire NFL. So if he couldn't go over this total in 2 games against the Giants defense, I don't think he'll be able to go over this total against the 49ers defense. Also, the Eagles' game plan should revolve around the pass game. That is the weakness of the 49ers defense. You can attack this team through the air. They rank outside the top 10 in opponent yards per pass attempt. So with the game script and with the 49ers rush defense, I like the under 48.5 rushing yards for Jalen Hurts.
All right, Ian, you're going back-to-back. You got something for A.J. Brown here. What are we looking at?
Yeah, gonna back him to find the end zone here. A.J. Brown to score anytime, plus 155. I think that's a pretty good bet there for that. People forget, this A.J. Brown fella, tied for the 3rd most receiving touchdowns in the NFL this season. Only Devontae Adams and Travis Kelce had more receiving touchdowns this season than A.J. Brown with 11. And also, as I just mentioned, not to repeat myself, but the 49ers are susceptible to the pass. They have been several times throughout the year. So if the Eagles are smart and stick to a throwing the ball type of game plan, more passes mean more opportunities for A.J. Brown to find the end zone. He's also averaging 8.52 targets per game this season. Pretty good. People have kind of forgot about A.J. Brown. He was a hot topic early in the year. But don't forget, this guy can find the end zone. I'll take him to score anytime at plus 155.
All right, next up, we get into Bengals versus Chiefs. I will get us started with Joe Mixon to have over 22.5 receiving yards. Let's dig right into this one. So this number is well below his season average. We're getting a beautiful discount here. He averaged 31.5 receiving yards per game during the regular season. This is a great matchup. To fill the stat sheet, KC is getting burned by running backs in the pass game. The 4th most passing yards allowed to running backs this season, along with the most receptions. And the Bengals, they're going to need to get rid of the ball early. Let's not forget that their offensive line is all beat to shit. People seem to be forgetting about that for some reason. In KC, they're great at pressuring the quarterback. 5th in QB pressure percentage during the regular season. Joe Burrow won't have the luxury of holding on to the ball for a long time. Look for some dump-offs to Mixon, and he will go over 22.5 receiving yards. Okay, back-to-back for me here. I'm going to go to the other side here. I like Travis Kelce to go over his receiving yard total of 77.5 yards. You know, sometimes these bets, if it looks too easy, you just look away. You want nothing to do with it. You disregard it. Do not do that here. He has easily topped this number in 7 consecutive playoff games. Totals of 98, 95, 96, 108, 133, 118, and 109 for an average of 108 in those games. Situation and style of the opposing defense doesn't seem to matter. They always get this guy heavily involved, and the Bengals have been poor versus tight ends this season. The 9th most yards allowed to tight ends during the regular season. Give me Kelsey over 77.5 receiving yards. All right, right back to Ian here. You got a pick on the spread. Who you taking?
I will be taking the Kansas City Chiefs -1 against the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe. The Bengals burned me this past week. Fewer people on Twitter looked like a bigger idiot than me on Sunday when I spent all last week saying the Bengals weren't very good. But I'm going to die on the hill. I'm going to go down with the ship here. I don't think this Bengals team is good, despite beating up on Buffalo last week. Their stats are impressive. You look at yards per play, they're 14th in the NFL, 16th in the NFL in opponent yards per play. Chiefs are 1st and 9th in those metrics. Chiefs are just the much better football team, in my opinion. Also, the Bengals struggled a little bit on the road this season. If you look at net yards per play this season, a net 0, but they're down to -0.3 on the road, and their average scoring margin this season goes from plus 10.3 at home down to plus 3.8, on the road. So they have had some road struggles. And I'm also going to fade the public narrative, which is one of my favorite things to do. Everyone's talking about Joe Burrow, how cool he is, how great he is, how he's 3-0 against the Chiefs in his career. They're calling it, Burrowhead now, I think, is what they're calling Arrowhead. Listen, those 3 games were all one-score games. Earlier this season, in the regular season, if Travis Kelce didn't fumble in the 4th quarter as the Chiefs are about to go up 2 scores, the Bengals don't win that game, and this narrative doesn't even exist. So let's relax on the Joe Burrow is the next coming of Jesus Christ narrative that's going around. I think the Chiefs are the better team. I think Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback. I will take Chiefs -1 in the AFC Championship.
All right, there you have it. Okay, guys, never in my life have I ever been so insulted for another human being. Of course, I am talking about Trenton Irwin and his receiving yard total set at 7.5 yards in this one. Absolutely love the over on Trenton Irwin here. So it took all the way to the conference finals to find the most insulting line of the year, but I found it. Here we are, and whoever set this number likely to be on the unemployment line come Monday morning. This disrespect is nothing like I've ever seen before. Look at his game logs. He's topped this number in 9 of 10 games this season, quite easily too, in most cases, with an average of 24.4 receiving yards per game, and it will likely take just 1 catch. Dude has an average of 15.25 yards per reception, 7.5 yards. What are we doing here? The pride of Glendale, California. Give me Trenton Irwin over 7.5 receiving yards. Absolutely beautiful number. All right, Ian, bring it home for us. Final pick. Something for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I think Joe Burrow is going to complete a lot of passes. How about that? So I'll take Joe Burrow over 24.5 completions in this game. He's averaging 25.87 completions per game this season. So already, if you just look at season-long numbers, I think there's a little bit of value here. And the Chiefs' defense bodes well for a lot of Burrow completions as well, because they give up a lot of completions, 28th in opponent completions per game. Now, they don't give up a lot of yards. They're actually 3rd in the NFL in opponent yards per completion. They keep the top on their defense, but they do allow a lot of passes to be completed underneath. That may not lead to a ton of yards, but that will lead to a ton of completions. And also, we've seen the Bengals shift their offensive playbook a little bit with a banged-up offensive line. No longer are they doing long developing plays for 50 yards. No deep throws for the Bengals lately. They're keeping things to quick developing routes, quick passes, quick dump-offs to try to make up for their lack of offensive line. And that, of course, leads to plenty of completions. So I'll take Joe Burrow over 24.5 completions in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, a lot of quick passes to Joe Mixon. A lot of people conveniently forgetting that the Bengals offensive line all beat the shit. Just because the Bills weren't able to take advantage of it doesn't mean that it's still not a thing, right? So it'll be interesting to see How that plays out in this game, all right, guys, that was 10 total picks in about 11 minutes. If you're looking to tail any of the action or fade it, choice quite simply is yours. I recommend placing that action over at BetMGM. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS and get a $50 bonus bet plus up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces, and you get $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win. Just use the code VI bonus. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. All right, guys, now we have a very special treat for chasing that paper, viewers. A bit of a reward, if you will, and a real challenge for producer Tito as we bring in our guest. A three-man segment here. We haven't done one of these in a while. So Tito, if we want to bring in from the Action Network, touchdown scoring specialist, there he is. Our old friend. It's nice to see his smile. Now, Gilles, we must get to the bottom of something here.
Yeah, let's have it.
Before we get to your picks, now you were in New York, the Action Network studio, grand opening. Great job by you guys. I caught a lot of the content. But as we know, Iain lives in New York, and he was complaining prior to going on air that you didn't reach out to him, and he's wondering, are you guys actually friends? What's going on here?
Yeah, this is true. I think we may have to do a straight up friend rankings to steal that from you. Isn't that right, Iain? No, I think if anything, what happened is I get this trip to New York. I'm going to go there. I'm going to basically be doing shows the entire time. And recently, Iain is starting to do a touchdown show. Now, recently, I'm like, this is awesome. Iain's doing touchdown shows. We're all doing picks. This is great. I message him. I'm like, man, great show. Really like this pick. Really like that. You know what he responds with? Thanks. Just a full on, he leaves me on red for like 2 days before that. And then just responds to me with just a one-word line of thanks after I wrote him like 3 straight messages of like congratulating him with all the success he has. So I'm wondering, Joe, if we should maybe ask Iain, is he getting a little big time here now, living in New York?
Yeah, let's get to the bottom of this, Iain. Now, I'll give you a chance to respond here, but the big time, this is something we touched on yesterday, Gilles. Iain out shopping for a pea coat yesterday. He's taking baths now. He's paying $60 for a haircut. So your response to his reasoning for not reaching out to you, Iain, let's get to the bottom of this right here live on YouTube.
I mean, I don't even think that's true. I mean, I just looked through our message history. I don't think I responded to one word thanks. So I think Gilles is just now fabricating things to turn the tables around on me. But no, I don't think that anything that's been said here is correct.
Well, right, I will say this. I was just going to say there will be future New York trips. Iain is first on the list of communication correspondence. So just putting that out there.
All right, there we go. Perhaps in the meantime, Iain can work on his DM reply etiquette. Perhaps as well. Maybe, a little bit of a lack of communication. Perhaps we'll call this a misunderstanding this time around, right?
Look, I understand. He's got a girlfriend now. He's kind of busy. He's living in New York, very busy. So, again, I get that. But at the same time, just a little etiquette. Just don't leave me on red. And maybe I won't feel like we're not friends.
I don't think I did. This is unbelievable. This has been turned around on me. All right, we'll see. We'll see you next time you're here, Gilles. I got to hold you to it now.
Captain Gas.
I'm going to hold you to it as well. Poll up in the chat right now. Has Iain gotten too big time now that he's in New York? 100% of the responses say yes.
That's unbelievable.
That Iain forgets about his roots, Coldbrook, Nova Scotia, close to where Gilles grew up. Okay, Gilles.
He's going to be at the NFC title game this week. I mean, God, this guy is just everywhere now.
Absolutely. All right. So enough small talk here. We can hash this out a little bit more. We got to hash it out all live on YouTube. So we'll bring Gilles back for another show in the lead up to Super Bowl here, hopefully. But let's get to your favorite touchdown scorer picks here, Gilles. You have one for each game. Let's start with the NFC Championship. Who are you looking at?
Yeah. So a lot of the same reasons that Iain was bringing up. I love the A.J. Brown analysis, but I'm actually really liking his teammate Devontae Smith to score a touchdown. And the reason being is Devontae has gotten 8 or more targets in 10 straight games. He's just getting that consistent volume that you look for a touchdown scorer. He has 6 touchdowns in that stretch of those 10 games. And as you guys alluded to, this Niners defense very strong against the run, but the biggest thing for them is they can be thrown on. They gave up 16 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. They were also bottom 5 in passing yards allowed to the position. The counter of what I would be looking at for A.J. Brown is actually like a longest reception prop, because the 49ers, this applies to both Devontae and A.J. Brown, but the 49ers have given up a pass of 25 yards or more in 11 straight games. Even last week against CeeDee Lamb, a 46-yard catch. He was easily the best receiver on the field. And AJ, I think there is a revenge game coming for him in this spot, but I love Devontae to be able to get that consistent work, especially where he's lining up a little bit more in the slot as opposed to outside where AJ Brown likes to line up exclusively. So Devontae Smith for an anytime touchdown at plus 190 is what I'm taking.
Absolutely love it. A little sprinkle there. Okay, the next game, the AFC one, I thought this total was going to be a lot higher. I think it was down a little bit. Maybe people coming around on the fact that Patrick Mahomes might not be as bad as people think, if the line movement has any indication there. But what do you like here for an anytime touchdown score?
Yeah, Joe, I'm struggling right now to kind of find the best value on the Chiefs side. But on the Bengals side, to me, it's no question who has the best value, and that's Tyler Boyd to score a touchdown at plus 310. So I was on Christian Kirk last week to score a touchdown. He was around plus 190 odds. And the reason being is because attacking the slot is actually the key to beating the Chiefs defense. KC gave up the second most touchdowns to the slot during the season. And for example, even in that playoff game last week, we saw Christian Kirk score a touchdown, the first touchdown for the Jaguars. And Boyd also, like Kirk, lines up exclusively in the slot. He had 5 touchdowns this year. And when you look back through these 3 matchups with the Bengals, the Chiefs have given up 8 passing touchdowns in those games, and 5 of them were to wide receivers. So I like all the Bengals wide receivers in this matchup. You know, if you can get Jamar Chase at plus odds, even T. Higgins to a lesser extent, but I like Boyd the most based on the odds and the matchup against the Chiefs. So give me Tyler Boyd to score a touchdown at plus 310.
I thought you were going to come at us with Trenton Irwin. I don't know if you caught my
If Boyd wasn't playing, if Boyd wasn't playing, he's the guy that you want to look at. Same thing with Hayden Hurst as well. It's another guy that I'd probably want to consider. But Hayden Hurst's odds are kind of dropping to a point where the value just isn't as there as much, whereas Boyd is remaining steady right now.
Yeah, sneaky little play there. Okay, G-Dog, we'll ask you to hang around for another minute here. We put up a poll today. I'm going to have you guys weigh in on this, and it's as basic as it gets. Who's winning the Super Bowl? We have this up on the Vegas Insider Twitter feed this morning. Make sure you give them a follow. The Bengals, plus 280, getting the most votes, 33.6%. The 49ers, the fewest. Now, just based on principle, I picked the Bengals at the start of the season. Oddly enough, I'm kind of getting sick of them for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm going to stick with my pick of the Bengals. It'd be stupid to change it now. But, Gilles, we'll start with you. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl at this point if you're placing a bet? If you're given $1,000 to place on any of these teams, who are you putting it on?
So before the playoffs started, I did end up putting a little bit of money on the Chiefs at around plus 400, and now down to like plus 260. I still like them, but out of those 4, I think the Eagles still offer the best value, mainly just because of this matchup going against Brock Purdy, where I'm not sure offensively the Niners are going to be able to do much, and then potentially whether they're playing the Chiefs or the Bengals, they're going to be favored in that game. And I think that they'll have the matchup defensively and offensively. So I think out of those 4, even though it pains me as a Cowboys fan to say it, the Eagles is the best bet of the 4 right now.
Okay. All right. Iain, what says you? You're given $1,000 to place on any of these 4 remaining teams. Who are you putting it on?
I'll tell you the last team I'm going to put it on, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right.
Just a poor performance by whoever voted on that poll to make the Bengals a top voted team. Just a disgrace. But I agree with Jill. I think the Eagles defense might be the most underrated unit in the entire NFL, leading the NFL in opponent yards per play, opponent yards per pass attempt, sack percentage. They're the best pass rush in the NFL. So yeah, I will go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. something kind of new. I mean, they won one a couple years ago, but it'd be nice to see for Jalen Hurts. Absolutely. Okay, so our guy G-Dog has to get on his way. Very busy dude. But Gilles, what do you have going on over at the Action Network that Chasing That Paper viewers can check out?
Absolutely. So every Sunday, this Sunday, and then of course on Super Bowl Sunday, I host a show called The Touchdown Show. Very clever name. I came up with it. Where we basically give out our best touchdown bets. My co-host Nick Giffen, he has a PhD in math. He's so good with the way that he analyzes the stats and being able to find angles. So every Sunday for the Action Network Power Hour at 11 a.m. Eastern, we do The Touchdown Show, and that's going to be going on for the next few weeks.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'll be sure to check that out. Now, before you go, any words of inspiration for our audience?
Keep chasing that paper.
Okay, I like that. I like it. That is our guy, G-Dog 5000 from the Action Network, doing lots of great work. Gilles, thank you very much for joining us. And we wish you good luck with your bets this weekend. All right, buddy. Thank you very much for coming on. There we go. Okay, Iain, let's get into something else here. So, of course, we know in the build-up to the Super Bowl, these networks, they go all in with these human interest stories, and they just beat them to death, and they shove these storylines down your throat. Now, I have listed the 3 potentially most annoying Super Bowl storylines that are going to be shoved down our throat, depending on, of course, who wins on Sunday. I rank them in terms of what will be the most annoying to the third most annoying, and I'll get you to give your selection here out of my 3. So potentially the most annoying Super Bowl storyline is going to be if the 49ers advance to this game. It's going to be nonstop. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. People are going to hate this guy by the time we get to the Super Bowl if they actually advance, and if you're not a San Francisco 49ers fan. So that's going to get out of hand. If the Bengals end up winning, it's going to be, we're going to be told 14 times a day about how cool Joe Burrow is. We're already seeing that leading up to this game. He does anything. Oh, my God, this guy is the coolest guy in the world. I was complaining about it on Monday. He wore Seinfeld jogging pants, and the internet exploded as if that was the coolest thing that you would ever see. So that's going to be shoved down our throat. And if we get, of course, the Eagles advancing to take on the Chiefs, it's the battle of the Kelsey brothers. You know, they're bringing mom and dad in for a couple of interviews. They're going to have them on the field showing pictures of them when they were kids. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I consume too much media. I probably shouldn't because it drives me nuts. But out of those 3, Iain, what do you think has the potential to be the most annoying?
I think the Joe Burrow story. Listen, I like Joe Burrow a lot. I'm on record calling him a Hall of Famer before he was even drafted to the NFL. But the Joe Burrow is cool narrative. You know what's even worse than that? And Joe, I know you don't have TikTok, so you don't know this.
No.
But the trend of girls just drooling over Joe Burrow like he's the sexiest man alive. That's kind of annoying too. I would say that's the most annoying. And then the Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant comparisons to Tom Brady in his first year. Comparisons number 2. I actually don't find the Kelsey brothers narrative actually annoying. I'm a sucker for a brother versus brother battle in professional sports. I love them. I used to love the couple times that the 2 Manning brothers played against each other. So I don't find that annoying whatsoever. Part of me wants it to be the Chiefs for the Eagles, so we get the Kelsey brothers facing off against each other. I love that narrative. That's fun. That's just some good old-fashioned fun right there.
Yeah, I do. If they said, Joe, you can pick who plays in the Super Bowl, I would go with Chiefs-Eagles. I do think actually, no, I picked the Bengals at the start of the year, but just from an entertainment standpoint, taking my own betting preferences out of it, yeah, I would go with Chiefs versus Eagles, I think. Would be a pretty good game. It's pretty funny with Joe Burrow, though, guys, and even potentially with Brock Purdy. We do this in sports where we build these guys up to a point where a lot of people will start to hate them. Once upon a time, everybody loved LeBron James. Him coming into the NBA was the coolest thing ever. Right out of high school, we knew forever he was going to be the first overall pick. He was really fun when he comes into the league. And then guess what started? The Michael Jordan comparisons. And he didn't live up to them. And by the time he went to Miami, he was like the most hated player in the NBA. So all it's going to take for Joe Burrow is a few more years, maybe another year of Tom Brady comparisons. Potentially the same thing for Brock Purdy. Then one really bad loss and people will not be able to wait to turn on these guys. It's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, pretty pumped up for these games this weekend. It should be interesting to see what develops here. Super Bowl, you got to absolutely love it. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Vegas Insider app right now. The Vegas Insider app gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. You can shop for the best odds, find props, futures, and plenty more with the app. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Woo! All right, guys. Very active live chat today. Shout out to Jigglypuff, Buffalo Bills fan. He's in there every day. Nate Collison, Savvy Vivo, Scott Sneed. Sorry if I missed anyone. Corey Stills in there as well. A bunch of guys weighing in. So yeah, thank you guys for joining the show live. If you're there on YouTube right now, do me a quick favor. There's a like button right down there. There's a subscribe button right down there as well. Give those a little click. Makes me look good, right? We're getting more likes and more engagement and all that stuff. So yeah, give us a little help here, guys. We appreciate that very much. Okay, let's get into the viewer pick segment of the program. A bunch of submissions there this morning. Let's go. We're supposed to keep mine till the end, but here we go. Ja Morant. This is my swing of the night in the NBA. I like him to go for 35 or more points at plus 275. He's taking on the Timberwolves. Now check him out. He's top 10 in the NBA in free throw attempts and points in the paint over the last 10 games. Free throws and points in the paint account for almost 80% of his points this season. He's got to match up with a Timberwolves team that's allowing the 5th most free throws, a ton of points in the paint, very bad three-point defense as well. So nice spot for Ja to go off and score 35 or more, plus 275. All right, what do we have next here? Of course, Schreckengoss. This guy must be hitting at easily over 60% with the picks he submits to the show. He's given us 3 straight in the NHL. He was on the New Jersey Devils team total yesterday. He's siding with Iain here. He took this one on Wednesday. Kansas City Chiefs +1, minus 105. Net yards per play over the last 3. Cincinnati at minus half a yard. KC at plus 1.2. Shout out to Iain. He's giving you credit, Iain. That's nice to see. Unlike some people on the internet. Kansas City defense is 9th in yards per play versus Cincinnati 16th. KC offense, 1st in yards per play, 2nd on 3rd down, 2nd in the red zone, all better than Cincinnati. Big injury narrative, but a Hobble Mahomes is still a top-end QB. It's like I've been saying throughout the show, guys. The dialogue about the Bengals leading into their game versus the Bills was their offensive line all beat the shit. A lot of people are conveniently forgetting about that just because the Bills weren't able to take advantage of it. Chiefs have a great pass rush. What do we have next here? Another support of Ja Morant for Matty Puppy Sports. Matty Puppy gave us a winner last night. Make sure you follow this guy. Over 8.5 assists. He had 10 plus twice in his last 6 games and 8 plus 5 times during that stretch. Minnesota is allowing 26.1 opponent assists per game at home this season, which is the 2nd highest mark in the NBA. Memphis is fully healthy. So yeah, let's hope Morant fills the stat sheet with 35 or more points and at least 9 assists. That would be nice to see. Not sure what the juice is on that one, by the way, but we're checking out. Captain Axe's locks. Here we go. St. Louis moneyline minus 125. Of course, we're talking about the Billikens. One of Ian's favorite teams, averaging 76.4 points per game over the last 5, winning their last 5 straight up with an average win margin of plus 12.2. Meanwhile, Davidson has lost 4 of their last 5 straight up with average margin of a minus 4.6. St. Louis has rebounding advantage as well, and the 3-point advantage. Can they make March Madness? Wouldn't you love to see that? The Billikens in March Madness. Potential Cinderella if they can get in. Okay. Sports Savant. Now, he gave us the Detroit Pistons on the spread there versus the Brooklyn Nets last night. So he's going with a even money dog here, the Calgary Flames. Even money at the Crack House to take on the Kraken. A bad 5-1 loss to the Hawks last night. What are you doing, Calgary? Losing to the Chicago Blackhawks. Last game before their bye week. I trust Vladar more than Markstrom right now and betting on a bounce-back performance. Seattle cruised to a 6-1 win last time out, but lose a close one tonight is his prediction. I think that's it. I like that. The bye week in the NHL. How exactly does the teams get one full week off throughout the season, like not including the All-Star break?
No, it's the All-Star break.
Oh, I thought he was saying specifically to them their bye. So the NHL when's the NHL All-Star game?
Yeah, I don't know. The All-Star break starts on, well, maybe it is. The NHL All-Star break doesn't start till next Thursday. So yeah, maybe it is their bye week. I don't know, to be honest. Do teams have bye weeks?
I think they kind of do. I don't think they officially refer to it as a bye week, but I think each team throughout their schedule, and we should know this.
We really should.
I think each team has a one point in their schedule where they get a big ass chunk of time off, and I like that idea. I kind of think that's something the NBA should consider. You guys know that that's something I annoy you with and complain about all the time is the load management and stars sitting out in the NBA, which is getting absolutely out of hand. But why not shorten the schedule down a little bit and then kind of have like the All-Star break? Of course, the teams are going to have about a week off then, but another point in their schedule, but they also have a week off.
So do the Flames just have a week off heading into the All-Star break? So they kind of get like 10 straight days off. It's not bad.
Let's look it up here, Ian. You can entertain the people with an anecdote while I get our answer here. Do you have? Tell us what you got going on for here. You're going out to the game this weekend, right? The NFC Championship.
Yeah, taking a little train down to the Lincoln Financial Field for the NFC Championship. Unfortunately, I'm still doing dry January. That doesn't end until February 5th, so I can't drink or tailgate, which kind of sucks. But I'm hopping on the train here Sunday morning. I'm going to take the Amtrak train down. I'm going to hop on a subway, go over to Lincoln Financial, watch the football game, maybe have a non-alcoholic beer or two if they sell them there. I would doubt they do, but if they do, I might have a couple non-alcoholic beers. I'll watch a game and then I'll train back. And I will be buying some Eagles merchandise while I'm there. I need to make sure that the Eagles fans know I'm on their side. I might buy a Devontae Smith jersey. How about that?
Ooh, okay. You got some money to throw around, eh? I know it's been a good year for you, but you're randomly buying an Eagles jersey potentially? Go with the throwback, the Kelly Green one. Very sexy.
What about the remember those like yellow and blue jerseys that they wore as like an alternate jersey a couple years there? They look like Team Sweden when they play. Gotta get one of those.
Yeah, those are kind of rough. I'm not a jersey guy by any means, but I've been wanting to buy a Dolphins jersey for the longest time, one of the throwback green ones. And for the longest time, there hasn't really been like a standout player on the Dolphins. Like I wasn't going to buy a Xavier Howard jersey. I was very close to buying a 201 this year, and then he kept getting concussed. So we'll have to see. Because I want
next year
to be.
I was just going to say next year you can buy a Tom Brady one though.
If Tom Brady signs with the Dolphins, I'm 100% buying a Dolphins throwback number 12 Tom Brady jersey. And I will become the biggest Tom Brady fan.
Oh, that's gonna.
I don't expect that to happen. They're still saying Tua's in concussion protocol. I saw something yesterday that Tua's still in concussion protocol, which is a bit of a concern. But what, we got 5 months until training camp or something like that. So plenty of time. But as for our NHL question here, Ian, so it looks like it's going to be a jam-packed night tonight. We got Saturday. And then next week is super light in the NHL. 2 games Sunday, yes. 1 game Monday, 3 games on Tuesday, and 2 games on Wednesday. And then they do take a break for the All-Star break. So it's going to be light NHL content here on the show next week. But yeah, it looks like a bunch of teams will get a enormous chunk of time off. So I don't know if you would necessarily call it a bye. We'll call it their break, I suppose. So, guys, a bit of a special announcement here. Next week, next Friday, is going to be the Chasing That Paper Super Bowl betting extravaganza. We're not going to wait till the week before the game. So we're going to figure out who's playing here Sunday. Iain and I are going to put all of our best bets together for the Super Bowl. Side total, ton of props. So you're going to want to join us for the Super Bowl betting extravaganza next Friday. Going to be an absolute blast, but plenty to get to before we get to then. Iain, what do you have going on with your podcast and over at VegasInsider? People in the chat are asking about your NHL. You going to have some NHL picks today?
Yes, I will tweet out right after this. The next thing I'm going to do is write up my NHL Best Bets article over at Fansided. So I'll tweet that out when that is done. Another winning night in the NHL last night. College basketball absolutely screwed me. A lot, like every loss I had last night was a bad beat. UC Irvine, like up 6, up 6, 2 minutes left, lost outright. Grand Canyon -2, missed a free throw for it to push. Michigan State -2.5, missed a free throw to only win by 2. But NHL, I went 2-1 again last night. So let's stay hot in the NHL. I'll have that article up on Fansided probably within the next 30 to 40 minutes. And nice. Obviously check out the Bacon Bets podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Even if you don't listen to it, just go give it a download. That'd help me out.
Yeah, one of my bets last night, I was proud of myself. The Chicago Bulls, I took them to, of course, I took the Bulls, I think it was on Tuesday, to cover the spread against the Pacers. It was like a -1.5 point spread. They're up by a good 16, 18 points at halftime. They go on to lose the game. So I took a look at the game versus the Hornets yesterday, and I said, things look pretty good here for the Bulls. However, I'm going to take them just to cover the first half spread. What happens, they go on to, I wouldn't call it easily, but they did cover the first half spread. They go on to lose the game outright. So absolutely pathetic stuff from the Chicago Bulls. I think they're pretty close to blowing that thing up. Guys, before we send you on your way, I got to tell you about today's handicapper heat check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business. Since 1997, today's featured expert is Chip Chambers, who is a perfect 8-0 across all sports the last 2 days. College hoops profits leader Alex Smart is on an 11-3 win streak, and Nick Parsons continues his run of going 3-0 last night and 17-5 across all sports over the last 7 days. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's best bets and Sunday's NFL Conference Championship top expert picks. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Yes. Indeed. Okay, so that does it for today. Iain, I hope you have an absolute blast at the game on Sunday. Safe travels to you. You're a brave man. Dry January.
Almost
done.
Than
most of us, I guess. I loaded up on
February 5th.
February 5th. Okay, so that's the Sunday. So next Sunday, right? You're racing. You have a race coming up. Does that have anything to do with dry January? Or
yes. It's a 10K race on February 5th, and that might not seem like a long distance, but to me, being fat and out of shape, 10K is basically a marathon for me. So I've stayed sober, no alcohol to try to lose a little bit of weight and train for this 10K, and as soon as the 10K is over, I will be drinking alcohol.
Yeah. 5 minutes of running is tough on me. So you are a brave man. We are cheering for you. The Chasing That Paper community has your back, Iain, so we wish you good luck here this weekend. We wish all the viewers good luck with their picks tonight and this weekend, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Woo! Yeah!